Hello, I'm Paul Steinle. Welcome to a course on nonfiction writing. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I'm going to spend a few moments talking about what's going to be in this course, telling you who I am, and giving you some idea of the direction we're going in. First of all, let's think of the course in this way. The goal of this course is going to be to learn to write clear, compelling, factual stories. In other words, something that really happened. These stories can be used for history, for memoir, for nonfiction books, for magazine articles, stories for publication, and stories that you can post on the internet. And essentially, we're going to be using a narrative nonfiction style. A long time ago when I started teaching this course, it was called The Story in Journalism. The idea being that we're going to learn how to tell stories about real things that happen in a way that's compelling for people. First of all, I want to introduce myself to you, who I am and where I came from. I'm a journalist, and I've been an administrator and a teacher. I started in journalism a long time ago, 1961. And the first significant journalism job I had was working at WBZ-TV in Boston. Back in 1965, I was there until 1969. I was a producer and a reporter at WBZ-TV in Boston. After that, I worked for Westinghouse Broadcasting. They were also known as Group W. They had 7 radio stations and 5 television stations. And I was hired to go to Southeast Asia, to Saigon, to become the bureau chief for Group W News in Southeast Asia. And I spent 5 years there, from October of '69 until August of 1974, working in Saigon and working in Hong Kong. After that, I came back and went to graduate school and got an MBA. After I completed that, I decided I wanted to be a news manager in television. So I got a job at a television station in Syracuse, New York, Channel 9 WIXT-TV. Spent a couple of years there, then moved on to Seattle, Washington, to King 5 News at King TV in Seattle. In 1983, I left King and went to Los Angeles and was hired by a new organization called the Financial News Network. Financial News is one of the early cable TV networks. And I ended up being the president of that. I spent a little over 3 years there until 1986. After I left FNN, I went to a company that was a digital company that delivered stock market information over your television set. But then I was hired back by the people from FNN to be the president of United Press International in Washington. United Press was one of the original news agencies, started in 1909. I was there until 1990, and then I left and went to the University of Miami, where I started my teaching experience. I taught at the University of Miami, I taught at Quinnipiac University in Hamden, Connecticut, and I taught at Southern Oregon University for a period of 19 years. So that's my official journalism and educational experience working in professional environments, although I've also kept teaching online for a number of years. In addition to my work experience, I've written 2 books. One is about China, commune. The other one is a book called Practicing Journalism. The Practicing Journalism book was a product of a project my wife and I did in 2010 and 2011 when we went around the country and visited newspapers in 50 states. And there's a website. It's called Who Needs Newspapers? And you can go and see the website and see what we did. We're proud of it, and I think you might find it interesting. It's whoneedsnewspapers.org. So that's my background, and that's what I bring to this. In addition to those things, I've taught more than 30 different courses, but I started doing this nonfiction writing course in the mid-90s, so I've been doing it for quite a while. Let me talk a little about what we're going to try to do in this course. The methods of learning are pretty straightforward. We're going to do some reading in order to expose you to how good writers write and to give you a chance to see some of the techniques that they use. Then we're going to analyze their writing, talk about it a little bit online, and see what we think of it. And at the same time, we'll be learning skills. We're going to identify the skills these writers use in their work so you can integrate them into your toolkit, your own way of writing. In addition to that, we're going to do some writing. I think the only way to really learn how to write is to write. And so part of this course will be writing some samples of material that we're going to read among ourselves and that I will read and analyze. You're going to be asked to complete 5 short nonfiction writing exercises and 1 longer form final project, emphasizing specific aspects of nonfiction writing. Each short exercise is 500 to 1,000 words. That may seem like a lot, but it really isn't when you're trying to tell a story. I recommend that you look in our syllabus, which is attached to the website here, and see exactly what the requirements are for that. The kind of writing we're going to do is based on your own experience. You don't have to do much research for this course. We're really sort of asking you to go back into your memory and write from that. You're going to be reading these assigned readings, which I told you about. You'll be commenting on them, and you're going to receive feedback from me as well as the other members of the course. Beginning with, we'll do that anonymously so no one has to worry about how they're showing up or not showing up in this exercise. I think you're going to find this very exciting. Once we start writing, it becomes very specific, and then you'll have things that you can point to and see how you've changed and how you've developed over the period of this class. In addition to the writing you're doing and the assignments that are online, which you'll see, I'm asking you to read 1 book, Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott. It's not a huge book, but it's very useful and very good. It's got a lot of writing tips in it, and it has a lot of fun things too. It's a book about the process of writing, how to become a writer and the things you encounter and what you might think about. So you might want to jump into that right away. You'll have to get a copy of that, Bird by Anne Lamott. So that's it for this initial meeting with you online, and I'm looking forward to the next one when we'll talk specifically about the first assignment.